that I'm very excited about because, yes, we have to celebrate women, not just one day, but the whole year around.
Exactly. I'm gonna start with Frida Kahlo because she's Mexican. Yeah, it's very controversial.
My mom is the sweetest person in the world. My mom is the most sacrificed woman I know.
Because I can't honestly, I can't imagine like a world where women are not allowed to vote, are not allowed to become doctors.
The pioneers on all this feminism movement that I really admire. We have to mention Rosa
Oh,
Parks.
100%. I do have to mention like my mom as well. Like, I have a
Mhm.
really great, awesome relationship with her.
Hi, welcome to another Naked Questions podcast. My name is Anna and with me, Fer.
Hi.
And today we have an episode that I'm very excited about because, yes, we have to celebrate women, not just one day, but the whole year around.
Exactly.
And this letter is from Becca. It says, Hi, Anna and Fer. I love how you always keep it real and inspire us with your conversations. So I'm curious, who are the women you admire the most and why? Whether they are famous or not, I'd love to know who has shaped your journey and the lessons they taught you. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Big hug, Becca. Okay, I'm very excited because there has been so many women in my life that had taught me so many things that keep inspiring me, and I'm all about supporting other women. But what about you, Fer?
Ooh, okay. So yeah, I also have a lot of women that I'm inspired. Um, that that inspire me, más bien. And that I admire. And then I have to like make a parenthesis here, Anna, because it's so interesting
A
when
ver, what happened, Fer?
aquí me voy a desahogar. Um, so it happens to me a lot. I don't know about you, but I'm the type of person, I'm not a
Mhm.
fan of, like certain artists or like a writer, whatever. Like I
Mhm.
don't go crazy about people. Like I can admire, I don't know, Dua
Mm.
Lipa. Like I love Dua Lipa, like her music I love, but it's not like I go crazy about her like in a way where I buy everything that's like related to her. You know what I mean? Cuz my boyfriend, for example, he loves Coldplay and he's like crazy about Coldplay. Like they do something and he wants to do that. They visit a restaurant, he wants to go to that restaurant. They wear certain shoes, he wants those shoes. You know what I mean? So I
Mm.
feel like
So you're not like a fanatic, like a stalker fanatic
no,
with no
no
one.
one, no one, no one. But I do have
Interesting.
women and men as well. But in this case, we're going to talk about women that I admire a lot. People that I know, people that I don't know. It's more like the work they've done and the contributions that they've
Mm-hmm.
given to society. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to start with I'm an art person. I love art. So I'm going to say Frida Kahlo because she's Mexican. I think that's like
Of
the
course.
most, if not like, she's one of the most known Mexican people in general, and like outside of Mexico. So, and her art, that's like I mean, I don't know if I'm like going deeper on this, but I feel like she was always
It's
compared.
very controversial,
Yeah, it's
no?
very controversial. And I know that she was like, in the art world, like she's kind of like the shadow of Diego Rivera because she started like he was a famous painter, he was a famous like artist, but then came Frida Kahlo and her artwork wasn't as as boom like wow. And
Yeah, like technique.
right
What,
until
like if we
after
talk about technique and.
exactly until after she died. So
Mhm.
and I mean I feel like Madonna had a lot to do with the fact that, Frida is Frida today for the rest of the world because she was
Oh,
obsessed.
really?
She
Why?
has like
Oh, she was
with
obsessed with
Frida.
Frida?
Yeah, I think she has some
Oh,
like
I didn't know
original
that.
artwork if I'm not mistaken. So,
Mm.
so yeah, I mean, I honestly think that she's a person who suffered a lot but also contributed a lot in terms of when it comes to art. Because if you read about her as a person, there's a lot of flaws. There's a lot of things like her relationship, in my opinion, with Diego Rivera was like toxic.
Toxic,
Like she
yes.
was super dependent on him. He was a womanizer, like things that, like that. Like we're not going to go deeper on that. But I think her work is amazing.
It resonates. I think what Frida did, no back on the days because we didn't live during those
Mm-hmm.
years, but I think today the image of Frida represents like women expressing their feelings through her art.
Exactly.
Because I can imagine, like, you guys know, or at least you know, Fer, before Baby Zane, I had a miscarriage. It was so hard for me to talk about that. It was embarrassing. It was painful. It was hurtful. I had no one to go to that could relate to me, or I thought I didn't have anyone. But imagining Frida Kahlo back on, I don't know, the I'm not gonna say the years grow, but when she was having all those miscarriages and painting about it, talking about the suffering, expressing that in art, wow, that's amazing. My grandma was super quiet. She will never talk about her feelings. My mom, the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she was super brave. And also, believing of herself because after the accident she had and the way she was living her life during the first years after the accident, anyone could get depressed and do nothing with their lives. And she was like, you know what? I'm going to start painting and I'm going to paint myself because I am the person I know the best. So, yes, I think her bravery, if that's a word, is what inspires women today. And then she's Mexican. So we are
Of
like, oh,
course.
finally, someone
Yeah,
that
and
looks
we're like more
like
proud.
us. And literally, she looks like us, but now we fix her eyebrows.
That's true. That's true.
oh, oh, yeah, Fer, I gotta mention a couple women from the past that definitely were like the pioneers on all these feminism movement that I really admire. We have to mention Rosa
Oh,
Parks
100%.
because she's the mother of the civil rights movement. Her refusal to give up her bus seat sparked a movement that is still going on. And women like her are the ones that deserve to be called feminists
Mm-hmm.
and that we have to follow their example. And I feel so proud of women like her. And I hope we are honoring her with our actions on fighting to be treated equal in society today. Another one, a ver si lo digo bien, Mary Curie.
Marie Curie. Yeah.
Ahí me corrigen, you guys can correct me. She's the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. Just imagine that,
I
Fer.
know that one.
Nobel Prize.
Exactly.
A pioneer in radioactivity, she broke barriers in the science and became the first person to win two Nobel Prizes. So I don't even talk about science because I feel like I need to learn a lot to jump into that
A
field.
hundred
But
percent. I would be a
wow.
total ignorant talking about science right now.
But just imagine
Yeah.
that if today we don't have many women representing on the STEM field. Just imagine back on the day on the 18 the late 1800s, early 1900s, having this amazing woman saying, I belong to this field. And not just that, I'm gonna invent and discover things that are gonna change the world forever. Wow, that inspires me, Fer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 100%. I think it's like it's super interesting and super like admirable the fact that that was like a long time
Aquí no
ago.
sabemos inglés, pero nos inventamos las palabras.
Admirable. How do you say that? Admirable.
I have no idea. You see who you are asking to? Admirable, pues.
Admirable. I
We
know.
admire their
Her
work.
work, 100%. And I mean, that was like a long
Yeah.
time ago. I feel like we still, as women, it face a lot of issues, but it is
Mm-hmm.
thanks to all these ladies from our past that we are where we are at right now. Because I
Yeah.
can't honestly, like, I
Yeah.
can't imagine like a world where women are not allowed to vote, are not allowed to become doctors. It's just like when I was born, women were already able to vote and women were already,
Yeah.
able to graduate and become doctors. And that was not a thing. It's crazy to think that that was not a thing back then. And
Yeah.
and now that you're
Yeah.
mentioning Rosa Parks, on the Latino side of things, I want to mention Dolores Huerta as well. She's an activist, super, like, her work is also like great. She was I have a little bit of her information right here. Leader and civil rights activist who co-founded the United Farm Workers. She co founded that with Cesar Chavez, of course. She has been a tireless advocate for farm workers' rights, immigration reform, and women's issues. She's still doing like a lot of things out there. I don't know if you heard or seen her, but she still like goes to,
Yeah.
like protests,
Very
and she's
active.
still very active. And her work is like, again, admirable. Admirable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Admirable. You guys have a new word in the
I
dictionary,
am.
okay?
Yeah.
Admirable. Yeah, she was in an event. There is this group of Latinas that actually, if you guys are not following them, you gotta follow them both, Cynthia and Claudia
Mm-hmm.
Edelman. They have a podcast, A La Latina. Shout out to them. And they have Claudia's foundation have an event every year in the United Nations, and they had Dolores Huerta, I think, for the past 2 years. And I swear, I've been wanting to go because if you can do something in your life, please, like, go and meet these amazing people while they're still alive. I wish I could sit with all of them and just have conversations and learn from their childhood, how they got inspired to accomplish what they have been accomplishing. I don't know. I want to absorb. I want to be like a sponge next to them, like learning from them and getting inspired. We couldn't go, but hopefully we can go next year. But yes, Dolores Huerta is still alive, so we need to take advantage of learning so much from her. There is another one that is still alive, and I admire a lot. She's a writer, Isabel
Oh
Allende.
yeah.
I started reading her. I started reading her books when I was in college, and I started reading the fantasy books. Actually, I have one of them here. La Ciudad de las Bestias. Just imagine, Fer, back on the days when I was in college, I had no money to even eat or to take the bus to go to school, but I would buy Isabel Allende's books. I love
Prioridades. Yeah.
prioridades. I love her writing, and because is a Latina, I always saw her as someone that I could become as. And y sé que estoy soñando mucho. I know I'm dreaming too big, but like I saw myself as some, because I love writing. I don't know if you guys know, but I think besides everything else I do, because I do so many things, writing is what I feel more passionate about. And I hope one day I can like break that barrier that is in my brain and start writing or putting those thoughts on paper. But Isabel Allende has been my wow. And then I watched an interview someone did to her, and it was not too long ago. And I think she's in her 80s or something, and she looks amazing. But also the way, the freedom she speaks with, it inspired me even more. Like, she just met not too long ago her new husband, and it was in a very random way. I don't know, the way she's so free and
Just
so
herself.
free. I
It's
can,
just
I
like
can.
it's herself.
Yes, I was like, oh man, I want to be 70, I want to be 80, and I want to look like that and be as happy like that. We don't know, right? Because at the end of the day, we all have struggles. But yeah, Isabel Allende is someone I admire, and I think she has been living like, like really inspiring moments in my life, Fer.
Of course. I think another person that I also have, another woman that I have to mention is Sonia Sotomayor. She's the first
Mm,
Latina Supreme Court justice in U.S. history. So I think that's also really interesting. She's still the only Latina there, and she's a badass, in my opinion. Like, I love her work.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Someone I just discovered not too long ago. I think I was scrolling on Instagram like I normally do every day. And I discovered this doctor in Mexico. Her name is Doctora Eva Ramón Gallegos. Check this out, Fer. She's a Mexican scientist from el Instituto Politécnico Nacional, el IPN, and she has made significant strides in medical research. She led a study using, ni siquiera la voy a poder pronunciar, but I'm gonna try, photodynamic therapy
Okay.
to treat human papilloma virus, HPV. We know this is a very concerning illness for many women, and I'm not gonna throw grown numbers right here, but I know like a high percentage of women, after being sexually active, we
They
get this
contract
virus in our
the virus,
bodies.
yeah.
Yes, and it's worse in women than men. So it's a thing that is very concerning in the medical field. Anyways, this can cause cancer pre cervical, cáncer cervical. Ayúdame con el inglés, Fer, porque ya me perdí. But in her research, these non-invasive techniques eradicate HPV in 29 patients in Mexico. That just happened this
That's
year. So
amazing.
this is
Did
offering a
2024 or like
yes.
2025?
Pues estamos en el 2025, and I just saw the note,
Oh,
the
that's
the story on social
great.
media. So it's very recent.
Uh-huh.
So this is offering a promise,
Mhm.
to eradicate cervical cancer or for prevention. So I'm very excited because women doing work for women. It's like when we talk about like menopause or premenopause and all these things, and you go to the doctor and you are treated by a man. They don't even know what you're going through because they don't have the same feelings. They don't
Exactly.
experience
Mhm.
these illnesses or these things that we women have to go through. But having this woman working on that, for me, it's very inspiring. Y luego es mexicana. Viva México, cabrones.
Claro.
I got very excited, and I don't even like, I've seen photos. I'm hoping and wishing we can have her on the podcast.
That'd be
So, yes,
great.
I admire her.
Imagine interviewing her for
Yeah.
Rollos de Mujeres. That'd be great.
Sí, sí, sí. Let's do it. I'm gonna start stalking her on
Give
Instagram
me an
until she
interview. I need
responds.
to talk to you.
Take a break from the lab. We need
Ah,
you on
from the
on the
lab.
podcast.
I know, Anita. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I also think like there's a lot of women when it comes to music. Um, who do you admire? And I'm not saying like, when it comes to music, like women in music, like who do you like? Who do you admire? I'm not saying like you're a fan, but like just like you enjoy their music. You think they contributed a lot in the music industry.
I think someone that impacted my life was Shakira for sure.
Okay.
Shakira, when she used to sing in Spanish, I love her songs. This album Unplugged,
Oh,
like, es que tú estás bien
no,
chiquita,
but
Fer,
I
es que
know
you're a
that.
lot younger
Of
than
course, I
me.
know las viejitas de Shakira. Those are the best.
¿Vieron cómo me dijo? She called me viejita,
No,
pero
no,
no me
no, no.
agüito.
Es que así se dice, las
Oh,
viejitas de Shakira.
for those for those who don't know, Fer and I are what, like
10
10
years
years
apart.
apart,
Yeah.
Fer?
Mhm.
Sí, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
Pero it's funny, I have a lot of friends younger than me. I don't know if I act very childish or I just get along with all ages. Anyways, yeah, Shakira. I think Shakira, her music, and also because she was one of the first Latinas on actually make it nationwide. Like, like when I know, and this goes to our Latino community. I know they hate when we try to do things in English. I've been having those comments
Mhm.
for a long time
Mhm.
since I married a half gringo. They were like, "Oh, Anita, now you're a traitor, you don't care about your community anymore. And I'm like, I care about my community, but I fall in love with this guy.
Yeah.
And it happens to be that he doesn't speak Spanish, so I need to throw some English there. And then we started our podcast in English, and I feel like to be realistic, if we wanna pass that line of use um impacting the Latino community, we need to let the English speaking world who we are and that we are here. And I think that's what Shakira did, even if many people criticize her because she was singing using English for a while. I'm like, but she's helping Colombia, and she's like, she has a school and a foundation and so many things. Like she's still supporting her community, but we have to make noises, like we gotta cross borders, like in the language barriers and all those things to let the world know who Latinos are. I think that's why I admire her
You
for.
admire her, yeah. I would
What
say,
about you?
oh my God, I have like two women that come to mind, but they're like so different.
A
One like
ver,
from each
¿quiénes
other. So
son?
the first one, and I mentioned it at the beginning of the episode, Dua Lipa. I love her music. I think she's
Mm-hmm.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Her work, I'm into like pop a lot, and I think like her work is really awesome. And then another thing that I admire about her is that she also has a podcast. She has a book club.
Oh,
She
really?
has
I didn't know that.
a digital like
Oh.
media, like kind of like a website where, she invites
Mm-hmm.
writers from all over the place. So let's say you have a writer that's specialized on technology. So she kind of like invites these people to write on her platform as well. But yeah, she's great. She was like taking like Spanish lessons as well. So yeah, I feel like she's very, ¿cómo es que se dice? Like she knows how to do a lot of things. Like
Like
very,
multitasking, like very
um, oh my God, I totally forgot the word.
inteligente,
Yeah, she's intelligent. Ándale.
multifacética.
That's a word, yes. And then the other one, she recently passed away, and I was like so sad about that. Yeah.
Ay, ya, no me
Yes,
digas. Rata inmunda,
yes.
animal
Paquita la
rastrero.
del barrio. Yeah, she was a woman that I feel
An
an icon,
icon.
like a feminist icon. And I think
Yeah.
that she suffered a lot when she was younger, and her music is really something that I know that maybe she's not like globally like well known, but among Latinos, she was like really well respected, and really like I think that people kind of like might remember her from being in the stage with Bad Bunny recently. I think that was like a couple
Mm-hmm.
of
Oh,
years
yeah.
ago.
Like he called her, she called him
Inútil.
inútil.
Yeah, she was just like that. But if you see interviews with her, like she was also like a very sensitive woman. Like she was a very like como muy sensible, una mujer muy sensible. And she would cry, and she would, and I always admired her work. And I was like, no, when she died, because I was like super sad.
Pobrecita.
Yeah, and I wanted to see her live. I
Yeah.
never got to see her live, so yeah.
Yeah, just imagine, Fer, not only an icon for feminism, but also I will say she was the first woman in Regional Mexicano, original Mexican music, to have a space, like a respected space. And also she changed stereotypes of women in Regional Mexicano, because I'm traumatized with Regional Mexicano, because for some reason society wants to paint women in Regional Mexicano like the hot, sexy, slut looking woman. But you see, Paquita was like a regular woman, singing from the
A
heart and
hundred percent.
with an amazing voice. So I love that she didn't need to follow that stereotype that most singers follow to be successful and to be respected. Yes, I love Paquita too. But what about real life, Ed? In real life, oh well, all of them are from real life, but
People who
around
are
you,
not
like who has
celebrities.
yes, who has been the women that impacted your life the most and why?
Ooh, that's a hard question. Or interesting question. When it comes to like my professional life, when I started doing like in college and kind of like getting involved in all this journalism media world. I would say
Mhm.
my dear friend Carla Mariscal, she's a news anchor over there in El Paso, and she's been working on media for a long time now. She's like a local icon. She's great. She does like great
Mhm.
job. And I guess like what I admire about her the most is that she was always, when you go into like, and I guess this happens like in every industry, but when you go into like the media industry, you see people that are anchors and like reporters kind of
Mhm.
like really far from you. Like you're just there kind of like
Yeah.
trying to figure your thing and figure out your thing. Where
Yeah.
am I going to fit? Like, am I ever going to be a reporter? And they seem like too far from you. Like it's just like hard to get their attention and to get them to like teach you something. But she's always super like helpful. She's always like she's a true leader. So yeah, I do admire her work, and I admire her as a person and the contributions that she makes to El Paso and Ciudad Juarez, where I'm from. What about you, Anita? Who's someone that's
That inspire me.
yes.
I'm gonna get very emotional here, and I hope I don't start crying. But I think there are three women that have been for real, like shaping my life. The very first one is my grandmother that she passed away already. So my grandmother had a very sad life. Like she suffered a lot. She was in this machismo environment. My grandfather was not the nicest person, but she managed to be strong to raise her kids. Even if my grandpa was there, I will say she did it on her own. My grandma was the woman in Mexico that had her kids in the house, and even some of them alone. Like it got to a point where she knew how to cut the umbilical cord,
Wow.
and like
Uh-huh.
it was just sad. It was painful. It was her life was very sad until years later. Um, I think like 8, 10 years before she passed away, she finally left my grandfather. And for me, that was like, man, it's never late. Remember, I came from a house with domestic violence fair, and I was like, my grandma, even at her 70s, she had the courage of saying enough. And she did it fair, and she always worked from home. She raised her kids. She was always present, and she managed to make money from her house fair, and she saved money. I think I learned from her about saving money and being responsible with my finances. That's the biggest like learning lesson I got from my grandmother. But also she loved traveling, and I love
Yeah.
traveling too. So even if she was saving money to go, because we're from Guanajuato, so she was going to Puerto Vallarta or Cozumel,
Yeah.
or like playas. I'm not gonna say beaches, playas in Mexico.
Uh-huh.
But she will save her money and pay these trips. Like in the town, these buses will take like 20, 30 people to those trips. But she was like free at the end of her life. And I love that, like how strong she was. My mom is the sweetest person in the world. My mom is the most sacrificed woman I know. She will die for you, like literally, Fer. She's the type of woman that is all love. Like I don't think anyone can hate my mom. If someone hates my mom, is because they have problems. And I love that
Uh-huh.
from her. I love that from her because she reminds me all the time what really matters in this life.
Mhm.
Because I get very intense, very passionate, very dreaming, and she always brings me down on this is what really matters in this world.
Mhm.
Be happy and love others, and you will get a lot back from that. And the last one, Fer, my tia that passed away too during the pandemic, my tia La Chachis, um, she passed away at 47 years
She
old from
was
a heart
young.
attack during the pandemic, but she was a fregona, Fer. She broke all those stereotypes from my town because if you live in the town I grew up, if you were a woman and were divorced, ya te chupó el diablo. You
Uh-huh.
are not worth it anymore. And she got divorced because my tío was an alcoholic and he was very macho and she was in an abusive relationship. So she got divorced. She was a single mother. She got her own apartment. This sounds like, oh, that's common here and not like that's the everyday.
Mm-hmm.
But back on the days and in my town,
Mm-hmm.
like a woman like that will be ashamed. She will be alone forever, just raising her kid, and she will be living with her parents. But my tia was not any like that, and she was working, she was studying, she was dating people. For me, that was like that's so brave,
Yeah.
like. And those that still live in Mexico in those little towns, or if you come from one of those little towns or other societies, like I know in Middle East, there are still very machos too in some areas. So you are gonna understand what I'm talking about. I know just that, Fair. Um, exactly a month before she passed away, I had a conversation with her just to tell her how much I admire her and how much I love her without knowing that she was gonna pass away. And we record an episode for my podcast in Spanish, Rollos de Mujeres. I haven't been able to listen to that episode until today, and she passed away 4 years ago because
Wow.
it breaks me down. But she told me, and she didn't share it with anyone but her
Mm-hmm.
fiance at that moment and her kids. She was studying a master's degree and she finished so many other courses. So she was still pushing herself really hard. And for me, no anyone have a master's degree, right? So and just imagine living in my town. So I was like, wow, Tia, you have never stopped surprising me. And she's surprising me passing away, Fer. So those three women have been my rocks, my examples, and I hope everything I'm doing, one day she feel proud of
Oh,
me,
I'm
Fer.
pretty sure,
I
yeah.
told you I'm very emotional.
And I'm pretty sure they're all proud of you right now. Yeah,
Oh,
100%,
give
Anita.
me give me a tissue.
Yeah, I guess like in my
Yeah.
personal life, I do have to mention like my mom as well. Like I have a
Mm-hmm.
really great, awesome relationship with her. Like it's just like she's my this is like something like a lot of people say like she's my best friend, but I do have to mention like she's my mom first and then she's my best friend because we're not like we don't treat each other like oh friends, right? She's my mom, I'm her daughter, but we're also like really close. So I kind of like I do admire her a lot because she's always done whatever she wants. Like it's just like she's just like that. Like I'm not gonna do it because I don't want to. Do whatever you want, or I'm gonna do it because I want to. So yeah, that's like to me that's very I admired that a lot of her. But yeah.
Yeah. And your mom, I don't know her and I love her already. I don't know her in person, but just by the way you are, Fer, and this episode is about like honoring women that impact our lives. The way you are, the way you conduct yourself, the the just the way you are. Obviously, I had to give a lot of credit to your mom, and thank you also for being a woman that impacts my life because I know we don't know for a long time, but the years I've known you, like I don't know, we share dreams, we share so many things, and that helps me to become a better person too because most of the things that I've been accomplishing lately is thanks to you too. That you like we are in the same. ¿Cómo se
In the
dice? Como que
same
in the
path, in the
same.
same like we're walking next to
Yes,
each
in the
other.
same path. So yes, and this episode, if you're watching it, if you're listening to this, please tell that women that you admire or that is inspiring you or is impacting your life at this moment. Tell her thank you because I'm pretty sure most of us we live our lives so busy. We always try to take care of people, please other people, work hard, and be a good, sister, friend, wife, mom that we don't take the time to recognize that we all are doing an amazing job. So I think that will be my my ask for you guys today that are listening to this episode, like go and tell that woman that you love her, you admire her, she inspires you, especially if it's your mom, if it's your wife, if it's your friend.
Somebody that you
Go
see.
and tell them that
Exactly. So
yes, we need to hear that more often,
a
right, Fer?
100%. We love love. So 100%. And don't forget to give us love as well. Don't forget to
Yes.
follow
How,
us.
Fer? Send money.
Yeah.
I know.
No, Anita. No. Tan así no. No, don't forget to follow us on social media. You can find us as Naked Questions, and you can find me as Fernanda Lefon. Fernanda Lefon. Anita, how can they follow you?
In all the social media platforms as Rollos de Mujeres. And then remember to visit our website because we put so much effort there too. We write blog articles, we share experiences. You can find the podcast there too. This one, Naked Questions. And also, if you speak Spanish, we have amazing episodes with Rollos de Mujeres podcast. And you can find us at, a ver, ayúdame, ¿cómo se dice? www.rollosdemujeres.com. There you go. Wait, Carlos, please put it on the screen.
Thank you, Carlos.
Yes, thank you, Carlos.
We'll see you guys in another episode.